Welcome to Trauma in Our Veins, where we unpack the chaos of being human, from parenting, mental health, trauma, and everything in between. I'm Maggie.
I'm Erica. Our ground rules are simple. This is a safe space, so be kind. Respect differing opinions. Maggie and I use she, her pronouns for ourselves, and we speak from experience, not misinformation.
Alrighty, folks. Hello again. Welcome back to the Trauma in Our Veins. And yeah, we got all kinds of stuff to talk to you about today, as per usual.
Yes. We were like, there's still a lot to talk about, so maybe let's just record again. So very much just one of those weeks. There's just a lot going on personally and externally in the world, as all of our listeners are probably aware of, because I'm assuming you don't live under a rock if you're listening to us.
Right? Like you had to look for us, okay?
Right? Exactly.
Uh,
I don't know if you were specifically looking for a podcast about trauma, but you're welcome, because that's what this
what
is.
can I say except we're dead soon? So actually, speaking of the fact that we did just record the other day, we were so excited. Literally less than an hour after we finished the recording is when they announced that
Yes.
the shutdown was over and ICE was not going to be funded. The SAVE Act did not pass.
Hey.
So that was awesome for us to hear. And we almost hopped right back on to add it to the last episode, but we figured, let's just start off with some happy in the next one.
Yeah. We'll save it for another day. I mean, to be honest, at first when I saw it, I was like, I really hope this isn't April Fool's, because
Right.
it happened on the 1st.
Mhm.
I mean, if it was, well then fuck me, because that gave me hope, so I really don't want to lose that.
That's valid. I mean, it's the first we've had in a fucking second.
Yeah. Well,
Alright.
in addition to that, which we will get into more, but the other hope this week that we got was Pam Bondi is out. The Wicked Witch is dead.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Don't insult Elphaba like that, though, you know?
I know, and that's the thing. I'm just like, that hurts, but at the same time, relevant.
Oh my god, but seriously, thank Loki because, oh my gosh, I could not listen to her, uh, divert attention for one more fucking second.
Yeah, she is a condescending bitch, and well, I knew her karma was coming.
I don't think she's
Uh,
faced the karma, she's just gotten fired. When she has legal ramifications, then I'll think that she faced some sort of karma.
right, there is that hearing in 2 weeks or whatever,
Yeah.
but I'm not holding my breath for it, because I it's like one of those things where it's like with legal proceedings like that, oftentimes there tend to be delays or just
Well,
random shit that
and
happens.
and not for nothing, Trump wanted to pardon all the January 6th people. What the fuck makes you think he's not gonna wanna pardon her?
Yeah.
Like, I'm being a little aggressive
Well,
this episode already, sorry.
either he'll pardon her to keep her quiet, or he'll let her take the fall in hopes
Yeah.
that less attention is on him. I could see it being either or
Yeah.
for nefarious reasons. Um
Yes. I don't think you'd call it a meme per se, but a post on TikTok months ago that was a sketch of all of the men in power grayed out in the background with a woman in an orange jumpsuit. And then at the front of the line holding shields are Pam Bondi, holding the intelligence shield, Kristi Noem holding the DHS shield, Caroline Levitt holding the message shield, and then that doesn't look like, isn't the head of DOJ was Pam Bondi. She's blonde. Why does it look like that? But basically it's a thing saying they hate women so much they set up women for this to take the fall. And so far we have seen Kristi Noem get fired and, relocated, reassigned, whatever. And now Pam Bondi, and there are rumors that Tulsi Gabbard, who is the director of national intelligence, is next.
Oh, I already foresaw that happening because I think late last year he was bitching and moaning about her for something with some election. I don't remember. It all just blurs together. But
Yeah,
he was talking mad shit about her.
he was. And then she still tried to defend him. But I will say at least I was wrong about one thing with that one in particular, because there was a Senate hearing, I want to say a few weeks ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago, wherein someone was asking her about the war in Iran and whether she thought that Iran posed an imminent national threat to national security, an imminent threat to national security. That's what it was. And she was doing everything but say yes. And she was like, it's not my job to determine what's imminent and blah, blah, blah. And it very much sounded like Pam Bondi-esque to me. Excuse me. But I did some research, and that is actually correct. She was trying to explain, and the guy who was questioning her got tripped up on the word imminent and wasn't listening to what she was saying. And then I think if he would have asked a better question, he would have potentially gotten a better answer, maybe. I don't know that for facts. But what she was saying was true, that it is the job of the IC to assess and gather intelligence and then present it to the president, who makes the determination whether it is an imminent threat. That's the important word, imminent. So she still should have been well able to provide her own individual assessment, which is what the gentleman was trying to get her to do. But she was trying to explain that she's not allowed to say whether it is an imminent threat. She can say whether it is a threat, which then should have adjusted his line of questioning. But I think that just got into more heated, and everybody's sick of all these people's bullshit and trying to avoid
Yeah.
questioning. So that's when you get that kind of thing where it's like, okay, yes, but she's not wrong. But she's still gonna take the fall, because she's not going to say, "No, I told him that it was not a threat in the near future, and he decided it was imminent anyways." She's not gonna do that. And
Yeah.
he's gonna continue to say that he acted on the intelligence he received.
Yeah.
So, it's things like
Huh.
this that are like, I really there are moments I feel bad for the women in his regime, but also you went into the lion's den, you know?
Right. Like, if you didn't learn from his first term, which, if you look at his cabinet from his first term, majority of them all have separated from him and
Mhm.
have said how horrible he was to work with. So if you didn't learn from that, then, like, I have to believe that you knew what you were getting into, or you're just that hungry for power, really.
Yeah, I mean, look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was the most diehard ender of Trump for so long, and even she had enough and was like, "No, this is not what you said. This is not what you promised. This is not anything." So, but
Yeah.
basically, that is what we're here to talk about today, is the women of Donald Trump's regime, and we are going to call it a regime because that's what he's trying to make it. So, we have
Yeah.
mentioned Kristi Noem, who is the head of DHS, who has now been fired. We mentioned Pam Bondi, who was the Attorney General, who has now been fired. We mentioned Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, rumored to be the next one fired. But there are still more. And it's very
Mhm.
surprising to me, even though he has the lowest percentage of female like cabinet workers and appointees by a 7% margin with the W. Bush administration and his own original administration. He's only at 16% women. I'm surprised that there are that many women willing to back him and then defend him, especially in the light of everything that has come out since the Epstein release. And I'm not going to get too far into that, but I'm just saying, you know?
Right? It's very sus.
Yes. There is one more of his female appointees that I do have a little bit of empathy for, and that is Susie Wiles. And I do genuinely think she is seeing. I won't say I think. I wonder if she's starting to see that she's being set up to take the fall because of her Vanity Fair interview, which if you don't know, Susie Wiles, it wasn't a one-time interview, it was like a series of questions asked over the course of a year or something like that. It was like a dozen interviews over the year, something crazy. Not a normal standard interview. And that was when she said that Trump has an alcoholic's personality. And then once Trump actually heard that after the piece was published, he laughed and he said he didn't mind it, which is crazy work for me. But she said a couple of things about Vance. She said she was very forthcoming in that article, and then tried to backpedal afterwards, saying that it was a disingenuously framed hit piece and that they took everything out of context and left a lot of stuff out, which I'm sorry, I don't know the context that an alcoholic's personality is good. But that's neither here nor there.
Right.
But that's not the only time that she's spoken out. She also, in another article, stated that she tries to give the president advice, which as the chief of staff, that's kind of her goal, is she's the gatekeeper. She's the one who makes sure that the president gets all sides of people in front of him so that he's hearing all sides of the argument. That's kind of my understanding of, like, because her role is very important in managing who has access to the president. And part of that is making sure they hear multiple points of view. And to make sure for herself, for her own ethics, that she is not being seen as like trying to manipulate it one way or another. So that's on her. So she said multiple times, she said a couple of things. First of all, she said that she has given her vote, but then she has been outvoted often. And then another thing she said about the war in Iran lately is that she sees it as the president is getting like a soundbite at the end of the day where they just show him a reel of all the shit they blew up. And like, that's what he knows about the war, which is insane.
That is insane.
Like,
oh my God.
If it's true, I still hate him. But if it's not true and he's doing all this shit with every intention of exactly what he's doing, then fuck him extra hard. Oh, well, I guess you can't because he's already wearing a diaper from that. Anyways.
Yeah, anyways.
But,
yeah.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. See, I really struggle with this one just because I feel like Susie hasn't really been in the spotlight too much, and she's more of a behind the scenes person, right? Which makes sense because she's basically his coordinator, if you will. Like, if we were to like sum it up to one word, she's the coordinator. So it's like she coordinates who can have access to him and whatnot. But as far as the like advice thing and making sure that he's seeing all points, that I don't really feel like is happening. Just
I would agree with that.
Yeah, just because there's clearly still a lot of bias as far as who he interviews with. I mean, I was surprised that he invited Mom Donnie there, but then they
Nuh-uh, he
like
has such a crush on him.
right? But then that happened, yet and then he even Mom Donnie called him a fascist and he was like, "Yeah, you can just say
You can just say
it."
it. It's
Like,
okay. It's okay. You can just
yeah,
say it. Waking
literally,
up with him
he's
all
okay.
dreamy.
Yeah, he's okay. Just like then he copied his outfit. Like, what the hell? Um
Listen, if Mamdani wasn't, this is a total sidebar. If Mamdani was not already dreamy enough, New York City's crime rate is down about 28% since the beginning of this year. Just so everybody knows.
yeah, that's a huge win.
What?
And
I know.
the thing is like I know for a fact that Trump would still try to take credit for that and somehow say it was ICE that's doing that, but we know that's
Mm.
bullshit.
Mhm.
Um, it's about having the right leader in the right place. So I was surprised about him getting invited, but like if you look at all the other like interviews with other leaders and politicians, you can see there is bias. He mainly visits more so with conservatives over the left, and he calls the left lunatics and all sorts of horrible, heinous names
Mm.
constantly, and even refers to the Democrats as terrorists and things like that. So
Mhm.
it's like, okay, she's not being successful in that area. I
Mm.
can say that much.
She may
um,
be trying, but she is not
yeah,
winning that fight.
no, and then the other part of it too is they're literally gatekeeping like the press because they're
Mm.
being selective with what press can be at the White House. And
Right.
they've banned quite a few news stations and networks from the White House, which hasn't been done before. So
So
in a sense, it's like
would that have been the decision of the chief of staff or the press secretary? 'Cause
honestly,
that's somebody else we gotta talk about too.
oh yeah, we will. But honestly, I think it would be both
Mm.
because if you think about it, the press secretary, she's just handling the questions. So in other words, she's basically the MC. But the chief of staff is behind everything. Like they're literally all behind the scenes, everything. And uh if you watch the show Scandal ever, that and I love referencing this because I feel like they do a really good job. Obviously, like it's super exaggerated with things. However, a lot of the shit in that show has actually happened. And some of it happened within the last year since Trump took office. So the show is relevant. But, anyways, the chief
R
of
and R.
staff, yeah, but the chief of staff is like, they really, really emphasize that role in the show. Like they really show you the ins and outs, the cracks, the holes, all of it. Like
Yeah.
and the scheming that goes on behind the president's back and including the president. Like it's insane the amount
Yeah.
of fucking like not just drama but just the like the blackmail that happens.
Right.
And look, like I could try to sit here and be a conspiracy theorist and say that like everything that's been happening is because of blackmail, because of the Epstein files.
Mm.
And honestly, like that is probably what it is. But until like we can really fully say that confidently, I'm
Mm.
still gonna fucking say it.
Well,
Um
I mean, there's a whole theory about Epstein having been a Mossad sleeper agent, and if that's the case, then his whole first decade probably of being here was collecting that blackmail, and he clearly did a very good job of it. Um, and yeah, so
yeah,
absolutely, I that has to be a huge part of it is just flat out fucking extortion.
yeah.
That's honestly, I thought for a long time, I thought lobbying meant extortion or, like, buying out politicians for the longest time. I thought that's what it meant, and then everybody ever I would look at it I would hear it in, like, this non-negative context about campaigns, and I'm like, Are they supposed to be telling people?" Just
Why are they so honest?
Right? But that's what I mean is, like, it's so normal, and it's so mainstream and accepted that, ugh, it's no wonder we find ourselves here, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And so long story long, but that's I guess my reason for being hesitant about Susie. I really don't know her like
Mm,
enough or her intention like because she's so behind the scenes.
yeah, that's valid. That is valid, and it's hard enough to make a judgment on the people that we see, like the press secretary and, like, the head of DHS and, like, yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Like, it's a
Carolyn,
very behind the scenes.
different story. She's a
Carolyn is
straight
a
up evil
whole different
bitch.
story. Well,
She's
so I
psycho.
did and I'm a psycho. No, shout out to Anne Marie. Um, so I did Google what a press secretary actually does, and, yeah, so basically she's just a poster child. That's
Mhm.
essentially her job, is she's the one who is the liaison between president and press. It does say she's in charge of media relations, but I think that's more in a sense of, like, sucking up to the media, which she doesn't do a great job of. Um, but, like, making sure that the media, it trusts that the politicians are, you know, being honest and shit. But, yeah, no. She's
So,
far too willing to cover up all this shit.
in other words, she's the great manipulator, except she's not great.
Yes. Yeah,
She's
well
really
well,
not that
so
good at it.
well, what I, read about her, she hasn't been doing all of this for terribly long. She only just graduated college in 2019, and guess what? Can you guess what her major was?
Of course, political science.
No, that was her minor. She had a major in communications.
Well, she probably failed those classes, I don't
I don't
believe
know.
it.
She managed to graduate, so I don't know, but,
With
um,
all Ds.
mm, C's get degrees, like, um, but yeah, so she only just graduated in 2019. She's a little younger than I thought she was, but she has always been in, like, this press secretary career path. She interned, writing letters for President Trump in his first term, and, then she had a few internships, then she kinda climbed and became the assistant press secretary and then was then
Oh, she
risen up
climbed
to
alright.
Jesus Christ. Well, listen, she's so young, maybe she fucking did. Maybe she was one of them, you know? Like, one of the ones who was taken advantage of and just brainwashed into this whole freak show. But
I
either
mean,
way, right
she
now
fits, like and I hate to do this just because I don't, like, condone it or whatever,
yeah.
but she fits his type is,
Oh,
I
for
guess, what I
sure.
was trying to yeah, blonde
Well, I
hair and
mean,
all that, like,
she
ugh,
and Pam Bondi are freaking twins, and Erica Kirk for that matter. Like, Jesus.
yes, yes.
Anyway.
I think Carolyn is like, there's a competition with her and Erica, I feel like, although Erica's definitely winning if you we gotta get into that too. There's some juicy shit, but we'll
Okay.
save, Erica for the end.
Okay. Alright. Cool. All these women, and we're still not done with the list, you guys.
We just
We
started.
just started. We also have,
Okay,
my
wait,
no, go ahead.
before we move on to the next person. So, something I do wanna, point out with Carolyn is
Mhm.
something that you gotta pay attention to when you watch her is whether she's wearing her cross necklace or not, because she will take it off, and those are the times she's lying through her teeth.
Are you
And then there's other
serious?
times where she's wearing a cross. Oh, yeah, and it's like it's an obvious necklace too, like, it
Yeah.
stands out, so when she's not wearing it versus wearing it, it's noticeable, and so when
Oh,
she's
damn, yeah,
wearing
that
it,
thing is gaudy.
she she does a better job at, like, beating around the bush when she wears it.
Oh,
So yeah, it's
'cause
it's
'cause
very
the
interesting.
'cause that's when the Lord is on her side, when she's lying. No, that's wrong.
Uh-huh.
That's backwards. Um, and
I
it is
I
worth
honestly
mentioning it is worth mentioning that most, if not all of these women are Christian women.
yeah. Yeah. So, but my thing is like I do feel like she was probably um I don't know, put in this situation by maybe not the greatest reasons or terms or
Yeah.
whatever, like whatever agreements were made. I don't want to know either, but I do feel like she purposely planned to get pregnant so that she could get out in time before all this shit hits the fan
Mm,
because I do feel like she knows that everyone can tell she's lying and that
mm,
she's covering for him. And so she's like biding her time. And then, yeah, like I really think she planned that shit so that she could get out like at the right around the halfway mark or before the halfway mark of his 4-year term because I don't know. It's at this point I can't think that he's really going to be able to finish all 4 years. Either he's going to croak or get
oh, right.
impeached and removed. Like it has to be one of those options. We cannot do another 2.5 years of this.
Jesus, no. No, we cannot. Definitely not. And not to mention, if he does succeed in completing this term, I'm thinking that means that he's gonna succeed in the rest of what he's trying to do, right? There's no way he can keep on this trajectory for another year and a half.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Oh,
he's already talked about how he's gonna try for another like a third term. However, the other part is Vance was also endorsed to run for president. So he wouldn't
ugh.
be VP anymore. So that would throw a wrench in it. And honestly, like I don't know, like if it came down to Vance versus Trump, I really don't like what would people pick? I feel like people would probably vote for Vance because he's younger.
I feel like they would vote for Vance because, I okay, so I say this because I feel like my parents would vote for Vance. And that's because
Yeah.
they feel like they missed the mark with Trump, but Vance stands for all the things that they liked about Trump. So that means that Vance must be the next logical step. I feel like that's going to be a lot of people's opinions. And I think that they're not realizing maybe how, ooh, the only word I can think of is evil.
Yeah.
Vance
Yeah.
is like, because yeah, he isn't. It's just like what we were talking with Susie Wiles. He's not in the foreground. You don't see all of the decisions that he's pushing for. You just see the executive orders coming out from the Oval Office.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about Susie Wiles being outvoted by people, if you don't think Vance is one of those people, you know, just all the puzzle pieces coming together, man.
Right?
Yep.
It's just I was saying this yesterday of like this all is a game of chess. However, they're using checker pieces instead. Like they think they're playing a game of chess, but they're
But
not doing it properly.
but really, it's fuck, what is the character? It's Sheldon's 3D chess.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not the normal kind of chess, and it's
No.
not, like, the predictable kind either, which is why every week we're like, "What the actual fuck?"
Well, you guys
And
think you guys think you're playing chess, motherfucker, we are playing Risk. Or
right.
like, I mean, come on.
Trivial Pursuit, yeah.
Oh my god,
Like
right, that would wipe them all out, they would all lose.
yeah. They
They're
don't they
so
aren't intelligent enough,
they're completely, like,
and
out of touch.
And see, and that's the interesting thing about this. If you were to have like all of his cabinet members stand in a line with like their resume or something, and you look and see what education they all have and like the
Mhm.
previous experience and then how they got there, it doesn't fucking add up.
Oh, I'll tell you what does add up with how people got there. Kristi Noem is the perfect example of that. She has so little relevant experience that when you Google her experience, it even tells you that she managed her family ranch. Like, what does that
Yeah.
have to do with DHS at all? At all. You're looking for qualifications. The only thing that qualified her is that she donated almost $10 million to the 2016 campaign for Trump. She tried to donate to his 2020 campaign, but he just didn't make it. And then she donated over $20 million to his 2024 campaign. So if anybody's asking how Kristi Noem got her job, that's your freaking answer.
She fucking bought it.
She did. And then she not only is she bribing her way into the office, in my humble opinion, I'll put an allegedly on that so I don't get sued for defamation. But she also, part of the reason she was fired is because she gave an ad campaign to her friend's company, someone who she has both personal and strong business ties to, a group called the Strategy Group, which real original name, just saying. But it was a $220 million campaign, and the agreement for any kind of ad campaign that's coming out of a political office is that there's supposed to be a bid for the campaign to keep it even and make sure that it's not being given to any favorites, no insider trading or whatever the fuck, like none of that. There's supposed to be a bid for it. And she cited that because of the border situation that it was a national emergency, so she didn't have time to do a bid, so she just picked someone, and who she picked happened to be her friend. So, like,
There wasn't time? Yeah,
there
okay,
yeah,
fuck off.
there wasn't time, I had to get up on the horse and look pretty. L
Seriously, dude.
literally.
Like, she cared more about how she looked, and it's just funny because since she got fired, more shit has been coming out, and then the whole thing with her husband too, and
Oh,
the
I
fact that that went viral in public, like,
like,
I
you don't
normally
as a good human, you don't want to laugh,
right.
but as a human who believes in karma, bitch, you shoulda known. Like, you shoulda
20
known.
years, 20 years he
Uh,
was wearing boobs and cross-dressing, like,
and I have a hard time believing that she didn't know because, like, look, Kris Jenner knew about Caitlyn Jenner. Like, y'all live
yeah,
together. Isn't that don't you see each other?
right? And not only that, but the other reason why I do feel like other people knew, including Trump, like I don't know if maybe Christie's husband was somehow tied to the Epstein like ring or whatever, but when Trump was called by I forgot which network it was to confirm like or to get his opinion about Christy Noem's husband and
Mhm.
the cross-dressing like news or whatever that came out and the photos that went viral, and they were asking him if he saw it and he said no, I didn't see it, I knew nothing about it. And then he repeated that I knew absolutely nothing about it 3
Mm.
times. And to me, that's a triple negative. So it's not a
Methinks
double negative, it's a triple. Me thinks you knew.
methinks you doth protest too much.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're saying that a little too much. Now I'm not convinced. So
Mhm.
what do you got to say about that?
One of the first things that I learned from watching Lie to Me is that the more you insist that you're not lying, the more likely it is that you're lying.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
can't with this.
which is this bitch is very much also a liar, and like everything that happened with the victims in Minnesota that were killed
Mm.
by ICE, straight up
And
murdered, like
and then
she
she
lied
had the
so much.
audacity to go in front of those cameras and call them domestic terrorists after they were murdered.
Yeah, and that ICE feared for their lives. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, we all watched those videos, okay? And there were enough angles that that shit was not AI. Like, that's what actually happened. And it
Yes.
yeah. So if any of them I do not feel bad for, we know my top 2 are Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi, and close 3rd is Carolyn Levitt.
Yeah.
I don't know,
That's
man.
it's hard because there's also Linda too.
Yes, Miss McMahon, our Secretary of Education.
Like, why the fuck? She was the CEO of WWE, which I hope y'all know that shit is fake. Like, that's not real fucking wrestling. It's all entertainment. If
I do believe she did serve on the Connecticut Board of Education? Connecticut something of education. She does have a little bit of background in education. But yeah, the majority of what she's known for is her divorce and WWE. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't I don't know. And I can't decide how I feel about the stated intention behind what they're calling the dismantling of the Department of Education. It should not be dismantled. I want to make that very fucking clear. It is necessary. What they're trying to do, allegedly, is to bring responsibility and authority back to the state governments for mandating each state's education, which on the one hand, I I feel like it would be easier to handle it on a smaller scale, but on the other hand, then you're gonna have 50 different states of the same country learning all different shit.
Yeah.
And
Well,
whatever tainted version, as you've got Oklahoma's fricking Trump Bibles with the fucked up constitution in the back, like, you're gonna have so much fuckery. That's too many people with their hands in the pot, in my opinion.
yeah. But I also believe that they would still find ways to control what the states even offer,
Oh, for
especially
sure.
because the state does not get as much funding like on a federal level. So
Mhm.
the problem with that is schools will no longer have any programs.
Yeah.
Like all of that shit will be gone. And that is everything from like free hot lunches to low income families
Mhm.
to, like, after
Fucking
school programs, like,
yeah,
so
supplies.
many things. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything, like, it's gonna have a huge negative impact, and then without the oversight too from the federal, level, then it leaves a higher risk for, like, state level fraud and state
Yeah.
level shenanigans and stuff, and then also too, like, think about each state, like you were saying, how divided it will be because some states are going to remain blue, some are going to
Mhm.
remain red. And yes, we're seeing a lot of red areas flip to blue or purple, but it doesn't it matters like who's the one making the decisions regarding education. Like those are the people we have to look at. Those are the lower level positions that we should still be voting on that a lot of people don't because they don't think it matters. And it's like it matters. Even if you're not in school or don't have kids that are in school, like it still fucking matters. Cuz it will impact all future generations,
Yeah,
And
definitely.
oy vey.
And there's gonna be even less, separation of church and state if you leave it up to the states. I mean, look at how oh, man, we're talking about the conversion camps and everything up in the Midwest. I mean, if you leave people to their devices based on region, I don't know. I mean, I guess a lot of small countries make it work, but no, the way that we are set up and with the amount of need that we have reliance on those things that you were talking about, like the lunches and the breakfasts and the, it's fucking school buses, all of it. Everything is tied up in funding, and the only way, and this is what Trump wants, the only way that the states will be able to handle it is if they increase their state taxes. And that's exactly what Trump thinks that they should do. But why not tax the billionaires? Jesus, they have so much. The money that they have spent on this goddamn war could have funded the Department of Education for the whole year. And this is a 1-month long war at this point.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
they're
this
still
is,
trying to get more funding.
yeah, this is not about you not being able to afford it. You're talking to us about, oh, well, they should just eat liver. Maybe you should just not start a war.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I can't,
Yeah,
because it
and
really, it's so easily solved without having to rip up all of it from the foundation, tear it to the ground and start over and fuck it up all over again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know. Oh, speaking of the war, did you see the letter to the American people from the president of Iran?
No, I don't think I did.
Yeah. So, Iranian President pens open letter to the American people. The long and short of it is he's saying, listen, for a time that America has been a country, Iran has never started a war. We've gotten dragged into wars and we are fully prepared to defend ourselves. But the only threat happening is from your president. But we also know that the governing are not the governed, essentially. So very much acknowledging all of us screaming that it's not us, it's him. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and it just kind of brings another perspective to it. Everything could be propaganda, you never know. But like realistically, if you do the research on any war that Iran has been a part of in the last 250 years, let's see, has started in 250 years. See how many started. Modern Iran has not initiated a traditional war of aggression against another nation in over 250 years. Last one was
Us.
yeah, well, yeah, that's what yeah, they are the non-aggressor. They're just trying to be able to defend themselves as any good nation should. So if they are building up their weapons, who are we trusting to not start a war? Us or them? I'm just saying. Go with history.
I mean, if we look at Israel,
Oh,
uh
real.
yeah, this gets complicated. And this I want to make it known too cuz I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, I'm so angry because, Israel is involved in so much of this, and I want to know, like, people to know I'm very pro-Jewish, and
Yeah.
I have nothing against the Jewish communities, but I have love for them and obviously respect and empathy and what they had to go through before. However, Israel and the current leadership regime they have, and the control and the genocide that they are causing in the Palestinians, like that, I'm not okay with. That's not, no.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but
I think
to
that's definitely
know,
worth mentioning is we are not anti-Semitic. It's the freaking government messing it up
yeah,
for everybody.
exactly. And being too involved with it's Israel wanting to control other land. Like,
Mhm.
they have, okay, so Palestine and other places around there, they've been trying to get Israel to define their borders for a fucking long ass time. And they refuse to do it because then guess what? Then they have to stop trying to invade all that land to try to
Right.
claim as their own. So they're basically like Russia in the sense that Russia just wants the Soviet Union again and wants to have all the land they took before, like
Mhm.
Ukraine and Finland and other areas. So it's a similar concept, like these dictator mindsets of I want more land, I want more resources, I want more power. So it's
Yeah.
just greed, greed, greed. And they will do anything to get it,
Mhm.
including genocide. So it's like the fact that we are in this war because Israel wanted it
Yeah.
and because
To
it
cover up for
benefits.
past messes, by the way.
Right. And it benefits Trump because of the whole oil thing, so he thinks, but it's like meanwhile the rest of us are paying for it literally.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just so fucked up. And like the whole thing, oh, that's what I was going to share about Erica Kirk is, so I don't know, recently she was put on the board for the Air Force. And I'm like, what the
Huh?
actual fuck? Like, yeah, she has no military experience whatsoever. And she
What?
was just appointed on the board, yeah, by
What?
Trump. And so not only that, but if anyone's been watching the trial for Charlie Kirk, the bullet didn't match.
Uh-huh.
So
I
the
saw that.
bullet the bullet from Tyler's gun did not match. And I think we talked about this in last episode, but that Joe Kent guy who resigned in protest, who
Mhm.
also said that he didn't believe that Tyler was the one who killed Charlie Kirk and said he would even help defend him in the trial. And then that information about the bullet came out.
Oh my
So
god.
it's really interesting, and like more and more stuff's coming out with um what was happening in the days leading to Charlie's death, and how like literally like, and again, this is all hearsay, like a lot of this
Allegedly.
stuff is being told by Candace Owens, who was a part of Turning Point, and she was Charlie's partner at work, and they were also like best friends supposedly. But ever since he died, she's been coming out and saying all this shit. Like she's been just unloading what she knows, and like text messages that she had with Charlie and other people at Turning Point, and she's been just blasting Turning Point. And so there's a
Huh.
lot of info out there, but granted, it's like, is she doing this out of spite or grief or whatever? Maybe, but also she has kind of proven quite a few things, because she was the first one to be like, uh, they are trying to cover up his death. Like
Mm.
there's no autopsy. There was no crime scene investigation. They literally poured concrete over that like whole area, supposedly. I mean, I didn't see it myself, but that's what this woman was claiming. And then she also was the one who shed light on the halftime Turning Point show, how it was pre-recorded 2 weeks before the uh Super Bowl, and how they had to pay people to be there to like participate or whatever. Like
Yeah, I
the
did hear
audience
that. That's
did, yeah.
crazy.
So she's the one that, like, cuz she has an inside source with TP still. So she's the one that's been like coming out and saying all this, right?
Yeah.
She also was like talking about, and other people too have been saying that Charlie and Erica were going to get a divorce because
Mhm.
they no longer were in alignment with uh like their stance on Israel, because prior they were both very pro Israel, but then
Mhm.
in the last few months of his life he was
Yeah.
turning point. Uh
He had hit a turning point.
Yeah, he he was starting to question things, and he was starting to not really be as pro-Israel, and
Yeah.
he actually was trying to persuade Trump to not go into a war with Iran, and was warning him as to like what could happen if he did that. So he was very much against the war, and was starting to be less pro-Israel. And days leading up to his death, he had gotten multiple invites from different leaders in Israel inviting him to come visit. And I think they were trying to, again, like bribe him, convince him, whatever the fuck, blackmail him maybe into basically bending over and being like, do what we want, like you have to be on our side. And
Mm.
he turned them down. He didn't go. And then he went to that college thing instead, and then that's where he was killed. So it's
Right.
like there's just more and more shit coming
Yeah.
out. And again, everything is allegedly, right? We just because
We weren't there.
yeah, not only that, but even though there is a lot of quote unquote evidence, we're at this point where so much misinformation is everywhere, and then there's
Mhm.
AI. So it's like to a point it's like, do we even know what the fuck is real, right?
Yeah.
So but it's just interesting to think about how his death, he became a martyr to the point where literally states are trying to change their highway names to Charlie Kirk Highway.
Oh
And
my god.
like a huge picture of him or mural or whatever is on the Department of Education because and when I was like, why? That doesn't make
Mm.
sense. And then I thought about it. Oh, because he would go to colleges and debate people and try to convince them to not only join Turning Point, but convince them to, switch from Democrat to, conservative. Like
Mhm.
he started a movement, and it was really much like at colleges and shit. So
Yeah.
that's why his face is on the Department of Education. But it's like they made him a martyr,
Yeah.
but
They made
then
him a martyr for a cause that he was abandoning.
yeah, and the fact that if they were really gonna get a divorce, like that's also very sus. And
Yeah.
so
I will.
another weird layer is literally, I think it was the day he died or the day before, somebody bought a website domain, and it was Vance or like JD Vance and Erica Kirk 2028. And yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. Before he died?
yeah, it was either the day he died or the day before. I can't remember.
Jesus.
It was like right as it happened though. And so that and like nobody could verify like who bought it.
Hey.
So whoever did knew how to be really sneaky about it.
Yeah.
Um but seeing her interact with JD, clearly there's chemistry, clearly there's something going on. And with JD and his wife, they were going to get a divorce too. So it just, the signs are there, like
Mhm.
at this point. And clearly she wants the power. I mean, she took over a Turning Point just like that.
Oh my god.
And
And, like, I'm sorry, that little sparkle in her eye was too obvious. She was not I don't I don't wanna say that she wasn't upset that her husband was gone, but she wasn't upset for very long.
crocodile tears, like
Yeah.
it felt fake. It reminded me of Amber Heard during her trial.
Mm. You're
Yeah,
so right. You're
dude,
so
I'm telling
right.
you. I
Mhm.
literally was like, "Ooh, they're like 2 peas in a pod."
Seriously, I never even
And
would've made that connection, but you're absolutely right.
think of it, like, Erica could have taken notes from that hearing, like, if she saw it, like,
Mm.
it's just saying.
It's
Um
it might be the wrong person to take notes off of.
Right? Like, she did lose,
Da
remember?
damn it, Erica, you were just supposed to shit on his pillow.
Right. I'm sure she did. Um
Yeah.
Yeah, and supposedly, like, the night before he
Mhm.
went to that, college or whatever when he died, they didn't even sleep in the same bed together. He
Yeah,
slept with his son.
and allegedly, she insisted that he sleep in the other room so that he would rest for the college thing, supposedly. Yeah.
Big guilt.
Right?
I'm sorry. She couldn't look at him. Like, she felt so guilty. It's
Uh,
just dude, it's so obvious. Like,
yeah.
but even
Just
the
another just another woman getting set up to take the fall. I don't
yeah.
know what she did to deserve it, and maybe she does deserve it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's just it's all so creepy. Um,
Yeah.
like, what is this fucking timeline?
Right?
But
Oh my god, seriously. Speaking of what the fuck is this timeline, are we ready to get away from the politics and talk about something a little sillier?
yeah, let's do that.
So, we learned something new today.
Well, I did. You apparently already knew and thought everybody else knew.
Listen, I told you I genuinely just assume that if I know it, everybody else I'm lagging behind, so everybody else has gotta know it. But, um, Maggie was today years old when she learned that dolphins are sexual predators. In a
Oh my
crazy
god.
random happenstance through our college group chat, dolphins got mentioned, and then someone said that they were majestic, beautiful creatures, and then it just kind of devolved from there, and that was my bad. Because the initial conversation was about, we should have a dolphin for president, and I made a comment that, well, I think they're both sexual predators. Um, so we're gonna give
That was
Maggie a
me.
little edumacation. Yeah.
I okay, so for context, I was the one who said I would rather have a dolphin as a president than what we have
Mm.
now. And I meant it more from like the intelligence area because dolphins are one of the smartest mammals,
Mhm.
but yeah,
And,
there's a
so
price with that.
there's a theory that, the government doesn't want us to talk to dolphins because they're too intelligent, and they will tell us all of the secrets that the government does not want us to know. But I have a feeling that it has a
Mhm.
little bit to do with this topic. I've gathered a few sources. The most
Oh shit.
popular the most popular example is Margaret Ho Lovett, who in the '60s was designated to train a dolphin or, like, I don't know if it was training per se, but, like, get to know him and try to, well, no, I guess, yeah, it was training. So what had happened was she was 23, she was very excited, um, to supervise the dolphins in the Virgin Islands facility. But what ended up happening is that the dolphin one of the main dolphins that Lovett was in charge of, kept getting horny. And
Uh,
she she, uh, manually handled the situation in order to
Oh
get him
god.
to focus on the research and the lesson that they were trying to get through, and this happened on numerous occasions. And, yeah,
Oh.
so that's the one that our editor was telling us about. Uh, but yeah, that's the most popular one. That is when I learned, not in the '60s, obviously, but when I heard that story is when I learned about the dark side of dolphins. Um, but there's a that's not a solo thing. The NIH, National Institute of Health, had a study with bottlenose dolphins or Tursiops aduncus. I don't speak Latin. Uh, in Australia, and they were checking out their breeding habits. That sounds so fucked up. Um,
Right?
but they did observe, the male dolphins being very, very aggressive and sometimes forcing copulation on their female counterparts, sometimes even ganging up on the female counterparts with other males. Um,
Damn.
So there's that. That's dolphin on dolphin, and then dolphin on people. I found examples from both France and Japan where dolphins were attacking humans with well, no, I won't say with sexual intent, but they cited sexual frustration as a motivator. So, like, how do you know that, first of all?
Oh boy. Yeah.
But isn't that
uh
insane?
that is especially because I have ridden a dolphin in Mexico, and so, like,
Mm.
now I'm looking back on that experience very differently.
Like, oh, you rode a dolphin, did you?
I mean, uh, you know,
Oh.
and it flung me out of the water, like, but holy shit, they're fast, and
Yes,
strong. Like,
yes.
the whole time I was like, "There's no way this dolphin is gonna lift me up." Like, you know,
Mhm.
I
Oh,
weigh
dude.
something, like, and 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 so I was really nervous. And granted, this was our honeymoon, so
Yeah.
this was like over 10 years ago. But anyway, we did the dolphin experience, and like it was awesome though. Like it was probably a female dolphin cuz she was, not she was smaller, I would say, like in
Yeah.
size. Um and she was so sweet and like really social and friendly, and she was really good at, like, you could either like stand on her fins or whatever, or like sit on her back, and then she would swim really fast and then jump and then kind of like throw you into
Mhm.
the air, and then you
Jesus.
make a big splash. Yeah, like it sounds scary, but it was exhilarating. Like it was
Mm.
really fun. Uh and I was super scared to do it at first, but afterwards I was like, "Damn, that was super fun." Um, but then I got to swim with manatees, and oh my god, manatees are sea cows. They are so cute.
Mhm.
They
They
are
are.
so friendly too.
Girl, you just gotta come visit us and we'll go to Weeki Wachee. Last time we went to Weeki Wachee and we went swimming, a manatee wandered into the swimming and like area. And what they do is they have whenever that happens, because it happens all the time, it's natural, it's a natural spring. Um, the lifeguards are trained to basically make sure nobody touches the manatee. So if they see a manatee, there's a lifeguard will go meet the manatee with a big flotation thing that shows everybody where it is, and he'll follow the manatee until it's gone.
Oh,
And it's so cool. And my mom got right up close to it and like watched it swim around. It was so cool.
that is super cool. They're
Next
so cute.
visit, they are
Yes. I love
that
them.
and the
But
kitty cafe. We got it all planned.
yes, when we were down in St. Pete, we did the Capybara Cafe, which that was really fun,
Yeah.
and like not what I was expecting. I thought they would be softer, but no, their fur feels very kind of like porcupines actually.
Hmm.
Very like almost
Very
like
coarse.
dry- yeah, very coarse, like dry straw, like so, yeah, but they're so cute, and they like I don't know, they like to eat a lot, so they're super chill.
Nice.
um, but I love animal cafes. That was like my favorite thing about Japan that we did. So the fact that they're popping up here makes me happy. They're not popping up everywhere, but I wish they fucking would.
Yeah.
Um, Florida's got quite a few, I feel like now, and then I think Texas has some, but like we need more like everywhere because they bring
Yeah.
so much happiness.
You know, animals definitely bring more happiness to me than people do. That is for certain.
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yes, animals definitely are better than humans.
Yes. Although like I said, I was surprised about the dolphins because I knew more about like their good traits, not their creepy traits.
Maybe
And
that's just highlighting the difference between us because I also gave Tim a fear of squirrels.
wait,
So
what? Oh no.
that's a story for
No.
another day. That is a story for
No.
another day.
No. I need to know now because I love
All
squirrels
right.
and now I'm scared.
Just um Google how many squirrel attacks there are in a year, and then you'll have fear of squirrels too.
Like on people or each
Uh-huh.
other?
On people, baby. We had at our old house, we had a hole in our garage ceiling and there was a squirrel living in our attic and I would not sit under the hole when we had a little hangout area in our garage. And I would not sit under that hole and Tim did not understand why and I said cuz that squirrel is going to jump down and attack me. And he goes, "Squirrels don't attack people." I said, "Oh, bitch." I'm about to take you on an
What?
adventure.
Okay, I've never like seen it happen and like I've only ever experienced and seen squirrels being really friendly and cuddly and like coming up and eating out
Girl,
of your hand and stuff.
don't do that with Florida squirrels. Them bitches are crazy. And don't give them basil. We have discovered that
Honestly,
basil is like catnip for the squirrels in our backyard. It's crazy.
really?
They eat the basil and then they go crazy playing on the saucer swing. It's so funny to watch. Anyways, we've
So,
got
you
way
have to
off
get a
track here.
video.
I will
Um,
try. Way left field. Bringing it back in.
squirrels, I will say though, squirrels are part of the reason me and David got together. So,
No.
that's kind of yeah, and Florida squirrels. So, it
That's true, I
is
forget you went to college here, so, like, you know the Florida squirrels too.
yeah, and there was, right around the time when we were playing, like, the zombie game on
Mhm.
campus, and the squirrels were so fucking aggressive, like, they would throw shit constantly at us. They never, like, attacked us full on, but they would throw things from the
Our
trees at us.
Yeah, ours definitely do that, for sure, we've gotten hit
Yeah.
with some acorns on the head.
Yeah, they were throwing, like, acorns, black walnuts, and, like, just other, like, pieces of things from the tree, and there was one time, like, they were throwing shit and that me and David were walking to class together, and at this time we were just friends, and, the squirrel started throwing shit at us, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like, and I don't know why or like I can't remember why I correlated this to we were talking about how they were zombie squirrels and I can't remember why like what they did to get that like nickname or whatever. But anyways, that's what ended up me like I used that to reach out to him outside of school like on social media and we connected and then we ended up like texting and then nonstop talking from that moment on because I I sent him something about like a zombie movie trailer like for
Ooh,
World War
World
Z or
War
whatever and I
Z.
was
Love
yep,
that.
and I was like, "Hey, we should go see this." And I was like, "It reminded me of the zombie squirrels from school." And I don't know
Oh
why I
my
thought
god.
that was flirting, Jesus Christ, but it fucking
Uh,
worked.
okay, but let's be real, for David, that is.
Yeah,
Yes.
anything anything works. No, anything like nerdy, I should
Mhm.
say, like anything nerdy and pretty much that's like how we bonded because as soon as he found out that my favorite like movie and stuff was Lord of the Rings, it was just like, okay, yeah, we have a lot in common. So that definitely led to the relationship. So
Yeah.
I give credit to the squirrels.
At least they did something right.
Yeah, they did.
Also, I just wanna say, I'm pretty confident, and I was not there, I'm pretty confident the reason people started talking about zombie squirrels was just because they wanted to shoot them with Nerf guns. I wouldn't doubt it.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure someone did. So that's probably like why I was saying
Yeah.
that because
Yeah.
they wanted to be involved with the game. They really
I
did.
don't know what to
So,
tell you. These squirrels just came up to me and started playing with me, man.
yeah. Oh, yeah, they wanted to be violently aggressive with their nuts.
Oh, I have so many jokes. I have so many jokes. Anyways, but in spite of all of the shitty people and all of the scary animals
Yes.
in the world, at least we can take comfort that we have managed to find some genuinely, sincerely good people to spend our time with and to feel better with.
Yeah, I know. That's something that I've been really thinking about too lately, and just as a little, like, not even an I don't know, not an announcement, but something I wanted to share. And like, I don't know
Yeah.
if it'll give comfort to anybody or if it's just comforting for me, maybe. I don't know. But I
Whatever
had
works, man.
right. I had my last therapy session last week with my therapist who retired, and
Mm.
she had been a therapist for like almost 40 years, so she definitely put in her time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I always really loved about her, and I should say love because she's not dead. So yeah, let me clarify. Uh, is that she was always so nurturing and very much one in tune with not only like emotionally but like spiritually. Like, she very much gave me the Buddhist vibe, and I know that she practices Buddhism, but she is not like a Buddhist, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah.
But she does practice a lot of those rituals, and so her and I really connected, like, even on a spiritual level in that way. And because I too, when I started deconstructing, I really got into learning more about Buddhism myself, and
Mhm.
really resonated with a lot of their practices and beliefs and values. And those are things that, I really hold to. And so going to Japan last year was an amazing experience to not only see their culture and feel it, but to also experience just the spirituality and in the air and just
Yeah.
in all the temples and stuff. Like, it was just so, so beautiful. But anyways, my therapist, she's amazing. I started working with her in 2020, and so we put in 6 years of work together. And I pretty much I started out like on a bi-weekly, and then I went to monthly and
Mhm.
have been doing that ever since. And then we had our last dance session, and it was really cool because for most of our sessions, we would go to a state park and walk. So she does more of the walk and talk therapy. And
Mhm.
I actually really learned to love it and notice how grounding it was to be in nature while talking about heavy shit. And so that I really appreciated. And then for our last session, she basically went through all of her notes
Mhm.
and basically looked at the first session and like the progression from the first to the last. And she basically gave me like a year by year review of all those notes and like summarized it for me. And what was really impressive was she did it all from her head. Like, she
My god.
maybe wrote it down, but she didn't have it with her. Like,
Right.
she had it memorized or some shit. No, I'm just saying. She spoke from her heart, but the fact that she remembered so many key details,
Yeah.
I it was so impressive. And like, hearing that stuff reflected back,
Yeah.
especially like just some of the hardest things I, admitted to her, like having some of that like said back to me, and it was like, "Oh my god, I hadn't thought of that in like years." And like,
Mhm.
and just thinking like how far I've come. And so one of the cool things she pointed out that really stood out to me was the identity piece. She said when I first started, she was like, "You had so many questions. You had more questions than answers,
Mm.
especially about your identity. You didn't know who you were. You were at this place of confusion and you felt lost. And you were trying to unravel all the religion, that you literally, it was intertwined with you for so long. And then on top of that, like the career stuff and then the relationship stuff, the family stuff. And like she
Mm.
just kept going on and on and on. And I was like, oh my God, like I came in with so many problems. And
I
and
got 99 problems and the church is most of them.
for, yeah, for real, like especially a lot of the sessions the first few years, those were definitely like surrounding religion and then my mom, like the mother wound a lot.
Mm.
And so we talked about that too, and just like she pointed out, like she was like, I so I saw you go from someone who just felt so lost and confused about who they were because your whole life you were told you were something, and then you realized you weren't that anymore and you never really were. And
Yeah.
so taking that mask off finally and then trying to unravel all that, having so many questions about who am I and what am I supposed to do? What is my purpose in life? Like what is the point of everything?
Yeah.
Those kinds of questions. And then she was like, now I see you as someone who is integrated. You are a whole person now. Like you
Oh,
have your identity and know who you are, and you have more answers than questions. Though you still want to learn and you have questions, you have come such a long way in just your assurance of who you are and
yeah.
like what is important to you. And she was like, the theme that really stood out to me throughout all your notes is you want to your advocacy work and your passion for advocating for not only yourself but for those who can't. And
Yeah.
she was like, you really have a heart and passion for the marginalized communities, and you want to use your voice because they haven't been able to or they're not heard, and
Yeah.
you experience that so much in your life that you want to make sure that other people don't. And so
Mm.
just like hearing all that, I was like, oh my God.
Right? Like, I'm gonna
And
cry, jeez.
yeah, it just, oh yeah. And it was just like, when she said the turning point was when I turned 30. She was like, when you turned 30, that's when I saw the biggest shift. That's when I was like, oh, she is really figuring it out. Like she's
Oh,
figuring out who she is. She's figuring out what she wants to do with the rest of her life. She's figuring out like what her values are and how they don't know, like they don't align with her family. And then figuring out just like on a spiritual level, like how I'm an empath and what that means and how I
mm,
can connect to people and just all those things. She was like, 30 was your point of, yep, this is the fucking path I'm going on.
yeah.
And she was like, ever since then, she's like, obviously every session you come in and there's always really heavy stuff happening,
Yeah.
whether it's directly or indirectly. But she said overall, she always was like getting this sense that I would persevere and I was resilient. And even though like there were still a lot of struggles and things to work on, she just felt like overall, like, I just saw that your perspective on life and your view on life just completely changed for the better. And just, yeah, just the amount of growth and stuff. And so there's probably a lot more she said. I just can't like
Mm,
remember it all, but it was, I can't even describe, like it was so like hopeful and
yeah.
validating and encouraging, and also just kind of mind-blowing to think about the last 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot when you actually see all the work that you've done laid out in front of you by someone else's recognition and not even necessarily by your own recollection of how everything went. I mean, that's the best. To me, that's the best because it's like, oh, I'm not saying this, somebody else is saying this. And that means that if they're seeing it, that means I did it right, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And
Absolutely.
and the other thing too, the other big takeaway was, she said, and I don't know if you remember, but every like first session I have with a client, I ask them the miracle question. And that's a very common, therapeutic thing where the
Mm,
therapist will say, like, if you could have any miracle, what would it be? And there's no rules around it. So
mm,
you just answer with whatever. And she said that my answer was to have a baby. And
mm,
because I couldn't remember what my answer was. And so she told
mm.
me that, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And, so it was really one of those big moments. And she was like, you know, this is obviously the infertility stuff has been a big, topic that we've really worked through and have talked about. And like, she was always so good about asking every session, checking in with me about it. And that's something I'll
Mhm.
never forget either. Um, and just like the way she was like, I know it's something you still want, but the way that it has evolved from that to where you're at now, where
Mm,
yes, you still have those waves of grief that happen, but it's evolved into more like accepting what is, and also
mhm.
knowing that even if I can't, it doesn't mean I can't help other children. And so
Right.
that's something that really I guess have more so been getting to that point in the last 6 months, I would say, is
Yeah.
especially when I started working with kids, um, in therapy, like, that's kind of when that mindset started to shift, like, obviously, I would love to have a family, but it hasn't happened, and
Mm.
it may not, and I'm coming to terms with that, like, obviously, some days are harder than others, but
Yeah.
it's something that I have learned that it can evolve, and I can still experience joy even though there's grief, and I can still experience joy through other kids and helping other kids, because I would never want any kid to have to feel the way I did when I was a kid, and so, and I know from working with some of these kids who
Mm.
I love working with, their parents are definitely not, they haven't done a lot of the work. They haven't worked on themselves or healed themselves. And so I can see those patterns like being repeated, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of one of those things, just for myself, that perspective of, you know, I I hate doing that cliche of, "Oh, there's a reason for everything." And like,
Mhm.
yes, though I do generally like believe that, it still is annoying. But
Yeah.
cuz we usually don't understand the reason even if there is a reason. And and especially in this situation, it's like I know there's a reason, and I may not like the reason, but I do deeply feel that a part of that reason was because of the deep mother wounds that I have, and then
Right.
just some of the other childhood traumas that I experienced, that if I were like, something David and I have talked about is like, if we would have had kids like before COVID, or even like around COVID when we just started to deconstruct and like do more, therapeutic shit and work on
Yep.
ourselves, like, I don't know what
Yeah.
it would have been like, and I imagine I definitely would never be regulated ever. But
Hey, I'm getting there.
it's
I'm getting there.
it's always a work in progress. But it's just kind of one of those things, we've talked about where it's like, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and
Right.
it's interesting because we've also had conversations with friends where they've made comments where they're like, "Oh, sometimes I'm jealous that you guys don't have kids because you have all this freedom and can do whatever the hell you want and blah blah blah." And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but you're also missing out, or we're also missing out on a lot of shit too. And there
Yep.
is that like overall loneliness and ache because as humans, we were technically what created to procreate. And
Mhm.
so there is still that, part or whatever. And so
And
it's
when
just
you have
interesting.
and when you have a genuinely stable life and partnership, that's natural to feel like that would be the next logical step and the piece that you're missing. Like, that seems completely understandable to me.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think, the biggest thing too that like I why I talked about it in therapy so much regarding like my mother wound and also the infertility stuff is because like one of the big fights that I had with my mom, and this happened like more than 6 years ago. I think it was probably at least 7 or 8 years ago it happened. And I she said a lot of hurtful shit, and then
Mm.
so did my dad. And I remember saying, when I have kids, I'm going to make sure that I don't treat them this way. I don't want
Mm.
them to ever feel the way that I feel right now. And my mom said, "Well, I hope you never have kids then." And
Jesus.
that is probably the worst thing she's ever said to me ever. And
Yeah.
it's something that I would never forget. And
Mm.
when I confronted her, she gaslit me and said, "I didn't say that. I don't remember saying that." And I was like, "Trust me, this is not something I would just make up, like,
Right.
because it did a
But
lot of damage,
don't
mental
worry, you
and
don't
emotional."
but don't worry, you don't remember it, I fucking do.
Right. And I mean, that's what I said. It's like, even if you don't remember it because you were angry and you said it out of
Mm.
anger, I still remember because it made me drive home while bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
And then I came home, told my husband, and he lost his shit. He almost drove to my parents' house to
Mm.
go off on them. And to this day, he wishes he did.
Yeah.
um, but like, it's one of those things where, words matter. Yes, we
Yep.
know this, right? Words hurt. And it's also like, for a long time, I felt, I don't know if guilt is the right word, but I felt like maybe because she said that, that's why I couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was definitely one of those things where it's like I have to basically forgive myself and forgive her even if she's never going to apologize for it. So much time has passed,
Mhm.
and just accepting that her words have no impact on my future or
Yeah.
what actually happens to me. So it was, yeah, that was definitely a tough one. But after 6 years, here I
Yeah.
am. And yeah,
Kicking
and like,
ass.
yeah, fuck yeah. And even though my parents don't give a shit, I've gotten to that point now where it's like, yeah, they don't give a shit, but you know what? I give a shit. And
Mhm.
that's what fucking matters.
Yep, and you have surrounded yourself with people who do give a shit and who are in your corner and who support you, and that is the best thing that I feel any of us can do for ourselves.
Yeah, like chosen family, not
Yes.
blood, you know?
100%, 100%.
So
Family.
fun times.
So
But
exciting, right?
but it just no, I mean, but in all like lightheartedness, I mean,
Yeah.
that session, like, of course, bittersweet, but it gave me so much hope and courage, and then I hope it gives other people the same,
Mhm,
that it is worth going on the journey to heal. It is ugly and it
mhm.
is not easy, but it is worth it. It
Yeah,
really
for
is.
sure. I agree. And I really hope that some of the, people we talked about today go do some of that work. Seriously, please.
Please, we beg of you.
If we said your name today, you have extra credit work to do.
Yeah,
But but that's
fucking do it.
please, please. I if any of these people ever listen to this podcast, oh my god, help us. Um,
Right.
anyway, but you're absolutely right. Doing the work it's very rewarding and it genuinely just makes your life easier. Um, but if you're not ready or you're not able or in a position to do that yet, you can still hang around with us and we're here. Even if you do that work, you can still hang out with us. We're cool.
Yeah, regardless, we're here and we
Yeah.
wanna hang out, so yay.
Yes. So, I wanted to make sure that we put in here this time because I keep forgetting to do it for the last 2 seasons. We do have an email address if you would like to reach out to us with any ideas or any, thoughts, gripes, moans, complaints, kindly, please. Um, our email is traumainourveins@gmail.com. Very easy to remember, very easy to type. So if you have any thoughts for us or any ideas or questions, please feel free to reach out to us and let us know. In the meantime, we will see you all next time. And may Loki be with you.
May Loki be with you all.